Well, the scale of what's been happening is unprecedented. But the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians has been heating up, even when it was far from the headlines of international news organizations. Now, to better understand the situation unfolding in Israel, joining us on the broadcast, Allan Sorensen, a journalist in Haifa at the moment. Thank you so much, Allan, for making time for us on NDTV. We hope you and your loved ones are safe. You know, being under bombardment is incredibly frightening, to say the least. What is the situation like where you are at the moment, Allan?
For the past hour or so, Israeli fighter jets have been making rounds on high-altitude rounds here over the city of Haifa, and then diving down towards Haifa and releasing their missiles and bombs on targets in Gaza. It's been going on for the past hour. I can still hear the fighter jets at the moment. So even though Haifa is quite a long distance from Gaza, it is, like the rest of Israel, a part of this latest escalation and war. And what I can say about the general feeling in Israel is that, like many Israelis are trying to come back from abroad to join the army and to join the service and to give what they can in this in the coming days, many Israelis that I'm talking to are also talking about safety for them and their kids, and maybe going abroad or going to safe places inside Israel.
Right, there is a loss of civilian life on both sides of this war. But you know, Allan, the reasons why Hamas and Israel are once again at war run much deeper, as we figured out. This conflict has been heating up even when it was far from the headlines of international news organizations. Don't you agree?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, it's an ongoing conflict between the two, and it's never really been settled or solved. It's been characterized by mutual understanding, sometimes a bit of pragmatism, but also ceasefires after every battle they have been fighting. But ceasefires don't solve the conflict. They only stop the fire for a certain time. And what we see here is that Hamas, since its takeover of Gaza in 2007, gradually has been growing stronger and building its military infrastructure. And even though Hamas have been hit several times by Israel during these years, it has not stopped Hamas from becoming stronger. And what we saw the other day on Saturday morning, this kind of attack, it really shows that Hamas, between 2007 and until today, has grown to become an organization that has a fair and a big amount of self-confidence, because carrying out such an attack naturally will provide an Israeli counterattack, and this is what's happening at the moment.
Right. Also, Allan, is Israel's air defense system finding itself overpowered after a barrage of rockets from Hamas?
No, the rocket attacks are in a slower pace at the moment, and I think that the Israeli military is up in its highest gear, and there's a massive mobilization of forces around Gaza and also on the northern border to Lebanon. So I think, and I also see and I hear reports about Israeli air defense systems. They are shooting down those rockets that are being fired yesterday and also this morning. There's no problem. I mean, it's far from the problem that we saw Saturday morning, where massive barrages of rockets were fired at the same time. Now it's more like a slow rain of rockets here and there.
Right. Thanks for that clarification. As we wrap, Allan, let's talk about the Israel-Saudi Arabia deal. Will this surprise attack against Israel and the subsequent escalation of this war deal a severe blow to the landmark deal that's being brokered by the US? What are you hearing at the moment?
I'm not sure. I asked the Israelis about this, and they say, well, maybe they're being a little bit cynical now, but they say, you know, the Saudis, they dislike Hamas like we do. So they don't have a love relationship with Hamas. They don't really care about the Palestinians. You know, that's a straightforward Israeli answer. But I think there is something to that, because let's say this latest episode wouldn't have happened. The Saudi approach was already to let's say it in nice words, to not really to take care of the Palestinian issue anyway. I mean, they want this deal. They have shown they want this deal with Israel, and they are going forward with it, making it public. And for the Palestinians, even before this attack on Saturday, it showed them that the Saudis, they don't really care about the Palestinians. So I think maybe there will be a standstill in the negotiations. Maybe there will be more discussions, but I think fundamentally it doesn't change the will of the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and the Israeli leadership of Benjamin Netanyahu. It doesn't affect their will of still continuing to reach an agreement about a so-called normalization or peace between the two countries.
Well, Allan Sorensen, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV with that live report from Haifa. We really appreciate it. The scale of what's been happening is unprecedented. And as we've established, the reasons why Hamas and Israel are once again at war run much deeper. We'll keep tracking all the latest developments for you here on NDTV 24/7. We're taking a quick break for now.